In the world of car restoration, some of the finest, most expensive, fastest automobiles of all time, as well as some of the rustiest junkers,
Full of rust.
That's not good.
are reborn here at the Guild.
It's shipped and beautiful, so.
And these are the restorers who turn rust into gold. At the Guild, an old favorite rolls in for its annual checkup.
Well, today's a pretty exciting day. We actually get to see something very special. 1939 Oldsmobile.
Hey, Dallas.
Has it been a year already?
Already. Every year I bring it in so that we can get the oil changed and the grease job and do any other odd little thing that may have come up. I bought the car in August of 1963. I was 18 years old. I drove it to high school for a couple of years, and it's only in recent years that the Guild was able to restore it the way a professional would have bought it in 1939.
In 1939, the Oldsmobile Business Coupe was an affordable car with the look of success. It had no rear seats, and with the additional trunk space, this coupe became a hit for traveling salesmen across North America.
Go tell your mommy there's someone here with a free sample.
Well, it looks like you've definitely kept her in very good condition.
Well, we only take it out when the sun shines. So now what we need you to do is fix this cable business, because I only have the transmission in second and third, and I have no first and reverse.
Well, why don't you show me the cable?
It's down in here,
I see.
so I need that replaced. And it's not something you can pick up the phone and do. You're going to have it made.
Gaston is a restoration expert of his own. Over the years, he sourced and purchased every single part of this Olds himself.
I wanted that car restored, Canadian, authentic, no aftermarket, anything on the car.
First things first, we got to get it in the shop, and we'll take a look at the cable, see what we have to do in that area as far as making one. We'll install it, and hopefully everything will be fine. All right, well, let's close her up, and we'll go inside, and we'll do the usual paperwork, and we'll get going on her.
So when Thomas calls me to say my car is ready, and hopefully at that point I'll have reverse, first, second, and third, and then we'll drive it away happily.
From vintage classics to high-end muscle cars, you never know what's gonna roll in next.
This morning, a GTO judge came in. And it belongs to a gentleman that has a rather large collection of cars.
The owner sent his right-hand man to deliver the car.
That's awesome. The thing my client is most hung up on is reliability, which is hard when you have, older cars.
I think we'll sit down, we'll write out what you need done.
Absolutely. Being stuck by the side of the road with a really expensive car, that doesn't work. It's a little hard on the pride, and, it's a long walk. Excellent.
Come on,
let's go write it up.
So every year, Keith has the whole fleet of cars serviced and tuned up for his wealthy client. And if the Guild performs well on this job, there'll be plenty more coming in the door.
Nice car. I like it. I love GTOs.
If it's an authentic judge, it's worth good money, too.
The 1970 Pontiac GTO, the Judge, ripped off its name from two sources. GTO stands for Gran Turismo Omologato, which basically means Certified Grand Touring. It's something Ferrari came up with for one of the greatest Ferraris of all times. The Judge comes from a character made popular by Sammy Davis Jr. And this Judge is legit.
There you go, buckle up for safety. Think we might be a little loud?
No. To make sure the car runs at peak performance, Brad and Larry volunteer for the test drive.
One of the most favorite parts about this job is a car like that. They take it out and put the pedal to the metal and drive it as a muscle car, the way it's supposed to be.
got it up to a good speed, and you could feel the vibration through the floor.
80, 90. 95. You're banging in the back there?
We almost lifted the rear wheels right off the ground. Something's not right out there. Now put your foot in the clutch, and just there's this noise. No, hear the rumbling noise through the drivetrain. The drive shaft or something's all balanced.
We think we nailed it down to the drive shaft as far as vibration.
I don't like that oil pressure. It's getting worse and worse.
We discovered another problem, that the oil pressure just kept dropping off and dropping off. We need to get inside the engine and find out why.
Oh, yeah, it has a few issues, this car. Yep. To see why the oil pressure is so low, first of all, the engine has to come out and the bearings be checked.
And it's not even a hot day, right?
But we have to get permission from the customer to take the engine apart to determine why that is so low.
David and Larry do what they know best.
Look at this caddy, Larry. Look at the chrome on it. That's a beaut.
When we walk into any kind of an auction, we pretty well always know what we're going to do.
That's pretty nice. I mean, it's not fresh restoration, but it's not bad.
As much as it may look like we're just kind of willy-nilly, a lot of times we really do a lot of homework on it.
What's the number? See, that's the stuff we should be looking at, too. See that Mustang? Stuff that you don't have to do a thing to.
If you're a wheeler dealer, it's the art of being able to get out there and see, what do you really want to get? What is it you really, really want?
But at times, what Larry and David really want doesn't sell.
The last auction we were at, I said, we should buy that. He says, doesn't turn my crank. I said, Larry, we got to stop buying cars that turn our cranks because not everybody likes those cars.
If you look at that, then you get that for $8,500. There's money in that car.
There's cars we don't particularly like that everybody else wants. Maybe we should be buying those.
But if you pay 10 or 12 for this, you can get 18 without touching it.
When I'm looking for a car, it's really not going after a specific type. I just look for cars that have that appeal to me.
This is something I was even thinking of driving in Florida.
If it looks like it's got like the wow factor, that's the kind of stuff you look for.
The only trouble we got is the kind of cars that are here are not the kind of cars that we usually like or appeal to us. Like Larry looks at stuff and he doesn't get it because, you know, the headlights are built into the front grille. You know, because when you were a child, all the headlights were on bars on the front of the radiator.
Oh, there were cars back then, were there?
It's a good auction for us for just buying ordinary collector cars, not this stupid, really high-priced stuff. That's sort of cute. That'd be good for $15,000 or less. Sometimes you can make more money buying a lot of cheaper cars and rolling them over for a smaller profit on each one, whole bunch less risk. This one's a little interesting. 56 Ford, it's a Sunliner, no reserve. Those are nice cars.
The Ford Sunliner was America's best-selling convertible in 1956. It was one of the first cars equipped with seatbelts. Buyers loved the safety feature so much that Ford ran out of seatbelts.
We really thought about it and figured out, well, okay, what's it really worth? So therefore, we set the limit at about $75,000.
Where are we set?
But Larry's been known to exceed his limits.
Larry is very definitely an impulse buyer. And I mean, I can't say that I'm the most sensible person when I'm at an auction and I see something that's really cool, but he is worse than I am.
Dave will say I'm an impulsive buyer, and he's not far off on that. And if I like it, then I'll buy it, unless it goes ridiculous.
Okay, this is it.
Now we'll see what happens.
Think it's time to go?
Thank you, sir. 46,000 going once. 56 hours after. Now 60.
Larry is entertaining himself. And it's a sport, and it's one he likes to win.
60, 65. I guess he can go to 65.
And sometimes it just doesn't matter how long he keeps his arm up for.
What are we up to? 25, 80.
On this Sunliner, I'm really going to try my best, but I'm only going to bid to a certain amount, and then that's it.
77.5.
77.5. As the bidding was going along, we actually thought we had it.
He's going to take it.
Just when we're getting closer, it jumped up and several more people got involved. And at that point, we knew, no, let's hold back. Because somebody is in love with that car.
Thanks, buddy. We're finished.
They're not buying it to selling it, they're buying it to keep it. I can't blame them. It was a beautiful car.
Nice restraint, Larry. Hey, good restraint.
You cannot get emotionally involved.
Thought we had it.
Yeah. Bang, on to the next one. And we did. We saw some other cars come up.
There's a Viper coming up now.
Yeah, you can hear it.
The next car that really interested me was the Dodge Viper. Supercharged, red, beautiful looking car.
In 1989, Chrysler was in financial trouble. They needed a car that would put them back on the map. The Viper did just that. It was unveiled as a concept car at the Detroit Auto Show, and orders started pouring in before the show had even ended.
What do we say, Matt?
I'd stop at 35 on this. When that car comes up, your heart starts racing, and you just gotta remember, just relax and have some fun. And stick to your guns until you get to your limit.
15 by 16,000.
Go, go, go.
16 by 16.
You're up.
16,000. Now 6. I get 23, 24. I get 23, 24, 25. I get 24, 25. I get 22, 25, 29. I get 25, 29. Let your money bring you happiness, sirs. I get 29 by once, 29 then 29 by twice, 35 all 29. So, 29.
The Viper's a sexy looking car, and I scooped it at the right price, and I'm happy.
At the Guild, court is in session, and the 1970 GTO, the judge, awaits a verdict.
The only hard part is I have to pull the engine right out of the car to get the oil pan off.
A test drive revealed a serious low oil pressure issue. Now Brad gets to the source of the problem.
It's a 40-plus-year-old car. You don't know what it's done in the past. So it's kind of a little bit of auto CSI, I like to call it.
The detective work starts now, and it means taking the engine apart.
The oil pressure is like blood in your veins. Your blood pressure in your body's not right, you're going to be sick or die.
Isn't that impressive?
The oil pressure in an engine provides lubrication and cooling. If it's not there, the engine's going to fly in a million pieces.
Well, initially it had low oil pressure, plus it was leaking oil out of the back of the motor. So we took it apart and we found it full of this black, gritty stuff.
This engine was rebuilt by another shop, but it looks like the mechanics cut a few corners.
What the people did, they wanted to paint the engine and they couldn't paint the valve covers because they're chrome. So they painted the inside of the motor. And when that stuff starts flaking off, it goes in the oil. You see all this stuff in here? That's cutting flow of oil to the engine because oil can't flow through it. So there's at least a third of the screen isn't pulling oil in. That's scary. It should have blown up, actually. I guess we're going to probably rebuild the whole thing now.
Paul breaks the bad news to the customer.
The thing is, if this was rebuilt in the last few years, why is it so dirty and got all that carbon in it?
Exactly.
I'm sure my client will be very impressed to find this out based on what we paid for the car. It sort of seems to me like when this was put together, it was sort of the quick and dirty, and that's not what we want. We're shooting for reliability. That black goop seems to have caused a little bit of damage throughout the motor, so they're going to upgrade it, make it a little bit more modern, and give it a little more horsepower, which is always a good thing. I'll notify the client and we'll get things started. Okay. Old cars, what are you going to do?
Love them or leave them.
Always love them, always love them, you know.
Here's your tools.
Out back, Brad and Ken get going on an old favorite.
Voila, there's the broken shifter cable piece right there.
Oh, yeah.
Every year, the owner of this mint 1939 Oldsmobile brings the car in for a tune-up. But this year, it needs a bit more work.
Complains he's got no first or reverse, so there's a cable that keeps failing. It's not even wire, it's actually solid steel rod. So we're gonna replace it with a cable.
Right.
And that should be fine, it should never break. We restored this car, I'd say over 10 years ago, and look at it, it's held up amazing.
Well, he's definitely taking care of it, that's for sure, eh?
He loves his car a lot. He's always looking for parts. You can look in the trunk, Ken, look at all the parts he's got back. He's got them all, you know. Right here, he's got the windshield washer fluid bottle. Even if he doesn't need the part, he'll buy the part. You need to know how the column works and the shifter. There's all the little bits we're looking for right there. There's the rod and the sleeve, right?
Wow, part number.
So I think he did have some parts for the shifter, but if it's the 1939 stuff, we need to update it and kind of remanufacture it so that it's going to be good.
It's these kind of boxes that scare me, eh? When you open trunks.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful.
At the classic car auction in Toronto,
Look at, I mean, it's a beautiful Art Deco car.
a 1950 Anglia catches David's eye.
They are rare, and they make great hot rods. I got a Maserati engine I can put in that. You know, that little Anglia rolled up, but I really don't have that much interest in it. But to have it for a little while and turn it over and make maybe $1,000 or $2,000 on it, that's just fun.
The Anglia has a lightweight body. Soup it up with a powerful engine, and you've got the perfect car for burnouts and drag races.
Dave likes weird automobiles, so sometimes he'll bid on something he wants to fool around with, and I'll tease him and try to get him to bid.
So I started bidding, but I was not going to go a penny past $7,500, no matter what. At anything over $7,500 plus 10% auction fees, I'm not done yet. No point buying it to lose money. I'm thinking.
He's extremely careful.
$7,250.
He can take that nickel in his pocket and squeeze it, and you can hear it squeak.
What's another $1,000? Ask Janice if you can spend another $1,000.
Yeah, they are rare.
I tease him a lot.
I'll let you sign the papers.
I get 75 of them at 10,000.
That's it.
77,50 going once. I have 77,50 with 8,000 going twice, sir.
That's the fun part. What's the fun if you can't go out and tease him?
Twice, sir. You're around the back corner. 8,000. Yes or no? 8,000. No. Anybody else? Sold 77,50.
Hey, that's how you bid, Larry. You set a figure and you don't go above it.
We're like a real frickin' frack here. We should have been in the old days of vaudeville or something like that. We would have made a fortune.
You chicken out, that's all this.
No.
$150, you what about it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Next up, a 1936 Auburn 852 Cabriolet.
Here's a great classic car.
Here you go, Larry. Slug it out.
I like that car. That's eye candy for me. Or I could take that car and go off and pick up people in the rumble seat and go get an ice cream cone. Have a great fun.
If I want it. This is a nice older restoration. It's tidy, it's complete. So I think there's a good chance that we're going to bid on it.
Anybody want to do it at 7,500? 75, 75, 80. I'll get 75, 80, 75, 80, 30 you.
Started going higher, and I said, you know, there's a possibility this thing could go to 90. So I said, wait, we should not go a penny over that.
You gonna go?
75 here, 80,000, 80, now 82.
At certain times, we'll nudge each other and say, what do you think? Should we go up a little bit more?
You gonna go 85? Yeah.
I'm not going higher.
And then it went to 85, which is where we thought we would get it. And I think somebody put something else in there.
86, 87, 86, 87, 86, 87, now 88, 87, 88.
Who's 87?
You are, aren't you?
I think. He's 87? You're 87.
Vote one. 88.
I'm 87.
Yeah, you're at 87.
All right.
And so we put one more bid in it and bought it. I think it was 87,000. Today we bought 2 cars. We did well. We're very happy. And it's 2 more cars for our stable that we like. And that's the secret. We like them.
What a great deal!
Hey, Larry, so what are we finding?
Well, look at this. Holy catfish.
This GTO, the Judge, vibrates at high speed.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And Larry's figured out why.
Brad put it up in the hoist, and I noticed the drive shaft. Somebody had balanced it, but they tack welded washers on it.
And we noticed that there's about 4 washers of different shapes and sizes welded onto it, so we're pretty suspect that the shaft isn't balanced properly.
The drive shaft transfers power from the engine through the transmission all the way to the rear axle.
Believe it or not, if a drive shaft's out of balance bad enough, it'll destroy a car, it'll shake it apart. Look at how they balanced it. They got one little weight there, another one here. It's a precision unit that has to spin in a 360-degree circle perfectly. And then they contradict themselves by doing an opposite one here and here. Not liking that. It's been balanced, but I don't think in a very professional way. It's had washers welded on it instead of proper weights.
That's not good.
Nope. You know, and they're not even welded on very well.
Balancing a drive shaft is a job for professionals.
We have a reputable business in Toronto, Dynamic Drive Shaft. They have special high-dollar equipment that balances these shafts. They put it in a special machine and rotate it. And they have ways of telling where weight should be and where it shouldn't be. Then they're going to balance it properly.
Back at the Guild, another American classic is being cared for.
1939 Oldsmobile is a gentleman named Gaston who owns it, and he's very particular about his cars. When I see him looking at that car, there's something in his eyes that the passion is wild, you know, to see someone that cares that much about his car.
This year, the Olds needs more than a tune-up.
Gaston drove this car in, I'm not quite sure how. He had no reverse and no first gear.
To get these gears working again, Ken has to make a shifter cable from scratch.
Problem is, with this cable, you can't get them anymore. 1939 Oldsmobile. These cables are near impossible to find, but to manufacture one by hand is definitely the fastest and easiest way of doing this. The new cable was bigger than the piece that I needed to use in the transmission, so I just had to modify it. Now there's the difference there. This is the old cable, this is the new cable.
Ken needs to drill wider holes into the old part so the new cable can slide through.
This part of the cable that goes in here that I have to drill spins around and it actually turns, so you've got to be able to hold it straight. If the drill bit slips off by about 100 thou, it will mess up the whole piece, and it's a one-time deal because there isn't another part. When you only got one shot to do this, start slow. Use lubricant to cut, and then the end result has to be a hole big enough for the cable to fit in. I start drilling the hole. I got through a little bit, but hit the old wire that was in there, which was harder than the drill bit. You can see, just with these drill bits, it's just bending. As soon as they bend, they break. Oh, the frustrations. But I just had to pull out because I could feel pieces of little shrapnel kind of shooting out and hitting me. The drill bit itself is just disintegrating because this metal is so hard compared to this metal. If I keep forcing my way with this drill bit, it'll break and I'll destroy the part, which I cannot do. Just when you think you got it all figured out, the rug gets pulled out from under you again. I stopped drilling, and the new plan is I'm going to try to add metal to this piece so I can actually have something to drill into. And then that'll be my new piece to fit on my cable. It will be good to go. Build my hole right through.
Was that a bolt?
Yes. Jay, he's our welder. He's gonna give it a whirl, and not a big ordeal. Beautiful thing. Excellent.
Finally, the cable slides in.
Now, if that doesn't look like factory, boy, I don't know. Beautiful, beautiful.
Across the shop, it's Judgment Day for the 1970 Pontiac GTO.
Straighten it out a little bit, yeah. Keith is coming today to pick the GTO Judge up. We got the engine all reassembled.
Just the easy one? Good.
We had the drive shaft balanced. There's no more vibration. The oil pressure is back up to perfect range where it should be. So I think Keith's going to be really happy, and hopefully his customer's going to be happy.
There's a lot riding on this car. The owner has an extensive car collection. If he likes the Guild's work, he'll be a returning customer.
There's a lot more cars that have still to come. We got to get them all ready to go for the summer.
I wish we had time to wash it, but you weren't late enough.
She looks good. The yellow color's great at hiding dirt. All right, let's shake this one down.
I took the customer out for a test drive. I thought he would want to drive the car, and he said, no, I'm going to sit here and listen and pay attention to the car.
The motor sounds fantastic. It sounds beefy.
Well, you're listening for engine noise. You're looking for steam or smells of oil.
Well, it's in far better shape than when we brought it in, that's for sure.
All the motor stuff that we did was 100%. We didn't have to do anything with it.
It runs fantastic. A heck of a lot better than what it ran like before.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
No vibration in the mirror. I know already my client's going to be very happy with this. Good oil pressure.
Oh, you got her all.
Yeah. Overall, I've been very happy dealing with the Guild. We still have a few more cars to bring, but some of the best ones have yet to show their bumper here yet.
The restorers bailed the Judge out. And now they're reaping the reward. More cars.
My God, listen to that roar.
Oh, yeah. Wait till I pop the hood. You'll get a kick out of that. Well, the GTO, they went over it with a fine-tooth comb, and they found some stuff we didn't know was an issue. So we wanted to give these guys the opportunity to do things good. The heart of the matter right here.
Oh, boy.
427 Super Snake, supercharged.
This Shelby GT500 is a tribute car, and it comes with all kinds of bells and whistles.
What a machine, eh?
Hey?
What do you think of this old beast?
I can hardly wait to get up in the hoist and see all the geometry. It's amazing.
Fantastic.
What a machine. The owner of it said that at 90 miles an hour, you can go around the corner just like she's on rails. Miles an hour, not kilometers.
So I'm going to give you the keys, Larry. Let's go write some paper.
Wow.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
The Shelby is just in for a tune-up. The real challenge is the other car Keith dropped off, the 1965 Cadillac DeVille.
Hey, look at this, Ken. It's rust. When this car came in, I was making a lot of noise in the rear end.
That's not good.
No. I pulled out the drive axle and we found a lot of rust and moisture mixed in with the oil. If there's that much rust on the axle, then the inside of the diff probably looks a lot worse. Wow, that's really bad. We looked in the diff housing and found a lot more rust, which isn't good.
A differential distributes power to the wheels while still allowing them to spin at different speeds.
The rust is building up in there because of heat. There could be an issue with the breather, and that's not allowing moisture to get out. So that moisture is just sitting in the differential housing, which in turn will wash out the bearings, gears, whatever, if it's not attended to.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, good thing it's not my job.
The Guild's not about business all the time.
Thanks, buddy.
Once in a while, they deal with family problems, like this 12-year-old lawn tractor.
This is a 27 horsepower Kohler Sears garden tractor engine that Janice uses on the farm for towing hay around and stuff.
I grew up in a subdivision, but I always had a passion for the country, for horses, animals.
Janice owns half the Guild. But down on the farm, this little tractor is one of her tools.
Last summer, it started smoking and making weird noises, and she brought it into the shop. Well, it was quite a bit to do that. And sat there for 6 months, So I just said, to hell with it. I had an afternoon where I was in between jobs waiting for parts, so I decided to take it apart and see exactly how bad it was. I priced out the parts, went up to Janice and said, this is what we need, blah, 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 blah. She said, go for it. I want my tractor back.
It's beautiful. I love it. It makes me happy.
So here I am. Aha. Now I know what's wrong. That shim goes in the other side. Okay. We're restorers. If an old part can be rebuilt and saved, that's what we're all about. All right, break time. Getting my coffee fixed.
A few steps away, the Cadillac DeVille's rusted-out rear differential is a real puzzle for Alex.
It's basically shot. It's been full of water. Everything's rusted. All the bearings are gone. So we're trying to pull it apart so we can replace the bearings and rebuild it for the customer. We decided to change the differential on the Cadillac because the bearings are making a lot of noise going down the road.
It has to come apart, bottom line.
You got your bearings, yeah. The Coupe DeVille's differential is a very specific design to that car. This one actually has sleeves that press in from the outside into the bearings that you can't see, and those sleeves need to be pulled out of the bearings.
To get to the bearings, Alex builds a special tool.
Sweet. So you just spin this down, and hopefully it'll grab and pull this thing out.
Just remember,
My
I still
face is
have
in the
all
way.
my teeth.
The guys give it all they got. But now the tool is stuck to the part.
Eventually we got to the point where pieces were so seized together that my tool wasn't working. It was starting to break the tool, and at that point the only way to get stuff apart is with heat. Basically, if you heat the outside of something that's stuck, it will expand and release what's on the inside. Let me get a fire extinguisher. Hold on 1 second. There you go. Beauty. So we had to get heat to the inside of the bearing in order to heat up the bearing itself to pull the sleeve out from inside the bearing. We're pulling the rollers out now.
If I could just get past this slag, then they'll just keep rotating and get them up here and drop them out.
There's 20 or 30 rollers in the bearing. We've got all of them except for 4 out. This has got to work. There you go.
That.
You got it?
It's 6 hours later.
So it's the end of the day now, and we started at 10. Between making the tool, cutting the bearing apart, and actually heating it and getting it to come apart, it was a major job, 7 hours.
Alex got a lot of tenacity.
I'm an optimistic son of a.
Out in the lot,
installation time.
Ken's ready to reconnect the shifter cable in the 39 Oldsmobile.
Oh, God, this is nice. And of course, you get all the way down here and you don't have the proper wrench to do it. So this is the worst part. Climbing out from underneath, climbing back underneath. I've got to slide the piece up into the mounting bracket and then thread it into the shifter linkage.
There's no books on adjusting this thing that I've seen, so it's hit and miss.
This steel cable that I just fixed, when you pull the shifter lever up there, there's reverse there. Sweet. I say so. Pull it up. That's reverse. Straight down first, second, third. Beautiful.
The cable's finally installed. Now, Brad and Ken need to see if it'll hold.
All right.
So you fixed everything?
Yeah, it's shifting beautiful, so.
Oh no, it won't go into reverse.
Ha. Ha ha ha. Brad. Mad Brad. You so funny, Brad.
He keeps us so lively around here.
Like butter.
Yeah, man. Jokes a lot and great guy to work with.
Good job, Ken. You fixed Gaston's car once and for all. Well, it feels great to me.
Goes forward good?
Forward and reverse.
Perfect. It's a sweet car, man, that's for sure. Like,
Ow, ow, ow. Yeah.
remanufactured cable?
Yeah, you remanufactured it, so it's better than brand new. Customer's gonna be so happy.
Absolutely.
On the other side of the lot, the shiny red tractor is ready for a test drive.
Well, I got it all back together for you. What I found was, I guess it had run low of oil and it broke one connecting rod.
I didn't even know Larry was fixing it. I guess Dave had him take a look at it. It was not a big deal to fix it. It was a couple $100 in parts, and he rebuilt it for me.
With the engine repaired, it's the moment of truth.
Why don't you jump on it and take your first spin?
That's great. Fantastic.
Time for Janice to put the pedal to the metal.
You like it? Boy, you did it. Success! Oh, it looks like you had fun.
Fantastic.
Great.
I'm so happy it's fixed. I
There
thought
you
we were
go.
scrapping this baby.
No way.
I love Larry. He's fantastic.
But there's just one thing missing.
Maybe racing stripes. It'll go faster.
I would think so, yeah. Go cruising in the fields, have some fun.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank
Great.
you so much. Fantastic. I want tractor back.
Out back, the 1939 Oldsmobile is ready for pickup.
Big day, customer's gonna be here, gonna be real happy. Well, I just finished up the cable for the reverse shifter. Right now I'm just fixing up the new GM automatic windshield washer glass bottle, which they don't put in new cars these days, that's for sure.
You just got to be real careful with it. Just dropping it, or when you're tightening it, don't over tighten the bottle. It's all glass, so it's a very touchy thing.
So we're all good.
The owner is here and ready to drive his baby home.
Well, there she is, Gaston. Good. All set to go. Whenever you're dealing with Gaston, because he's such a perfectionist, it's nerve-wracking. So, Ken, why don't you show Gaston a little bit about what it was you had to do?
Right down the bottom here, the cable for the reverse there.
They replaced the internal cable inside the conduit because the other one just couldn't stand it. So it looks the same as the original, which is what I wanted.
Exactly.
The other thing was that a few years ago, in fact, I brought it up to have an original water bottle washer installed. And late last fall, I noticed that it wasn't washing, so they had to fix that for me. Alrighty, we're gonna close it up and go for a drive. Okay, let's see how this thing's gonna work.
Finally, Gaston can drive his car the way it is meant to be driven, with all its gears.
Okay.
How's it feel?
Feels great.
Seems like it shifts pretty smooth. I think that there's only one more thing that we need to test. We need to make sure she's going to go in reverse for you, too. Hallelujah.
How's she going? Just fine. Perfect. Works like a charm. What I wanted to make sure of was that the gears would mesh properly, both in first and reverse, and it works great.
Well, that was a fun ride.
Here we are. Works great. Did your job.
As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
That's the idea.
Don't want to see him till next summer when he rolls back in for his spring checkup, and that's a beautiful thing.
Another one of the Guild's longtime clients just showed up.
Hey, come on, let's go. How did you get the keys? I got them from Kim. You know, I'm gonna have to talk to Kim. She's not supposed to give you keys. You know what? You're not driving.
You know, Dave is a considerable pain in the neck sometimes.
You're not driving the Viper.
We go back and forth, and we've known each other, oh God, I don't know, 25 years now.
Oh yeah. What a baby. What a baby. Later, I will.
Will you really?
Will
you really let me drive it? You're such a nice guy. He doesn't like anybody else to drive but him. And I'll say to him, wait, I bought the car. How come I'm not driving it?
You can't even get in it. drive a Viper.
And then the next thing I'm in there, I say, have you ever driven one like this before? Because you don't know any more about it than I do.
I have to find the clutch pedal.
You can't find the clutch. You can't find, that's first gear, by the way.
Is it?
He gets awful bossy, doesn't he? Sometimes some people will say to me, we're like husband and wife. He's the wife, by the way.
That old truck.
Back up, Dave, back up. Back up, I want to see it.
Yeah, no, I can see. It's just an old wreck.
All right, so here, take me up, let's have a look. Come on, let's go have a look. Come on, let's go have a look.
Okay, because you're going to whine. Yeah, all right, we'll go look.
He can drive you crazy, but in the long run, we're good pals. I mean, it's all in good friendship until he punches me in the arm or something. Come on, it's time for an adventure.
Yeah, this is not an adventure. This is a complete waste of time.
We were coming down the road. Here was this old pickup truck, and it was left abandoned, I suppose, and a tree growing through it.
You know what, Dave? I can see this in your shop. I think it would be
Somebody's
a great
ideas are
lawn
fun.
ornament in the front of the guild is what I thought. And leave the tree in it.
And this was a big tree, boy. That'd been there for a long time.
Let a skilled professional open this hood.
I can see that, yes. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, look. The front seat is in there holding up the truck because the front axle's gone.
And, well, at least now we know where it is, so we don't have to look for it. Now we just put it back in the car. To be honest with you, if I thought that I could have got that whole unit with the tree in it and everything towed in the middle of the night and put it right in the front of the guild, and then Dave would have showed up the next morning and had an absolute fit.
You know what? I think we should offer the guy $6 grand. Maybe, well, no, 8. Okay, no, wait. You offer him 10 grand and, okay, 12. You give me 20 grand and I'll do the best job I can. 40 is the bottom line. I won't go any higher than 40 grand.
Back at the Guild, the Cadillac DeVille is ready to go home.
How'd it go together, man?
Just topped up the fluid and tightening the drain plug up.
So the last step on any vehicle before it leaves, top up all the fluids, and then we hand the keys to the owner and send him down the road.
All right, let's get her done. Sounds good.
It's showtime.
She looks beautiful. What did you guys do? Paint it? Detail it? Looks fantastic. When I walked out of the shop with Alex there, I mean, I saw the car sitting there and it just looked fantastic. It was beautiful, bright, nice and clean. All the chrome was shiny. I mean, what more do you want? All right, let's take it for a test drive and see how it sounds. Let's rock and roll. Yep. All right, Alex, let's take this thing for a ride.
See what she does. Doesn't sound like the wheels are coming off.
No, nice and smooth. The motor is smooth, silky smooth. Well, you know, I got to tell you, it runs great, it sounds great, and, you know, I think that my client will be extremely happy with that. Well, that was fantastic. You know, it drives fantastic, it handles fantastic. You know, it's a fantastic car. Starts to bounce a little bit when you get on it and you hit a couple of bumps, and it's just like you can really feel the ass squatting down.
Peace, isn't it? You know what it costs for dry cleaning?